welcome back to the RunFever channel. Thanks for tuning back into us. It is our absolute pleasure to welcome on this evening to Matt Spruce, a valued member of the team, a valued friend, and a huge part, definitely in my life and my recovery. So Matt, welcome.
Hi, Matt.
Thank you very. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Ian. Thank you very much. Really excited about having the opportunity to be on the RunFever podcast. I'm obviously an avid listener. I've been involved with it since its inception, I guess, when we had some of those chats and looking at and seeing what it would look like. And now you're here 3, 4, 5 episodes in, creating great content. And I've loved being a part of the journey. So I wanted for this podcast or this episode to be slightly different. You know, we've had some really deep discussions and listened to some really deep, challenging stuff. But I wanted to take it back a little bit, if that's all right. And I wanted to maybe ask you both individually some questions specifically about running, about your experiences about running. You know, so yeah, and then let's see where it goes. You know, we've got a short window. We don't want to bore anyone to death, but I think there's a real opportunity to tell the listeners and the RunFever community a bit about Ian, the runner, and Sharon, the runner, because you're both epic athletes, okay? And I love following you on Strava, but I want to know a bit more. I'm sure if I do, then maybe others do.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
And just for the viewers listening and everything like that, this really isn't staged. We don't know what Matt's going to ask us and everything like that, because we felt it would best to keep it real and everything like that, of just getting our responses, seeing, what you're going to ask. So hopefully Matt is going to be kind and gentle to us.
Yeah, be kind.
The questions are kind and gentle. I've had the ideas in my head. I wrote them on the board just behind about 7 minutes ago. Yeah. So let's see where it goes.
Okay, let's do it.
Go for it.
Who would like to go first?
Ladies first.
I go first. Okay, go on then. First question.
Perfect. Right. So we're all part of a running community, Sharon. But what I want to know is, when did you first go for your first run? Now, I know you were in the military.
Yeah.
But when did you first choose to go for a run?
Oh, for me, I was one of them strange kids where I absolutely loved running as a kid. So I used to plan races with the lads and everything, like in the village. And we played lots of different games like manhunt and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed setting up sprint races and getting everyone lined up, and had if I could win, then that was just amazing. I loved it. So I was quite active as a kid. I was always out. And then I did get involved in an athletics club as well, which was quite good. But I didn't really get support from my family because they were never really into that kind of thing. So it kind of died a death. And then really I probably picked up running again when I was Thai boxing. I did Thai boxing as well when I was younger. So I did Thai boxing and ran kind of on the side with that. So that was really good. But when I decided to, make the move and join the army, which was when I was 21, so I was a bit older than a lot of the other guys coming in. I was really kind of right, I've got to, really get stuck into the training, have a plan, and really built and worked up the running there. So but it was quite funny because when I turned up at the to go for kind of the your 24 hours where you do all your bits and pieces, your testing, I was flying around the course and everybody else was puking left, right and centre, for that 1.5 miles, which was just really quite interesting. So they were all younger than me, so but yeah, I've always loved running, so I'm kind of weird like that. And for me now it's kind of normal. If I'm not doing it, I don't feel like me. So it's so that's just me. So I'm quite fortunate, I think, that it's kind of something I really enjoy doing. I don't have to battle with it.
Thank you, Sharon. What about you, Ian? When was the first time? Now, I know the first time I met Ian, just for a bit of context for everybody, was around 23 years ago, 23 years ago. And we turned up on a PTI course together, physical training instructor course. We were both in the army at the time. I'd never met Ian before that. But what I remember from Ian was he was this tall, athletic looking guy. I was quite a fit lad, and we just hit it off straight away. But I'll never forget a story. Ian had these trousers with him, right? And he had these pair of trousers, and they were enormous. They were huge, these trousers, like they were from some kind of joke shop. And he would say, I used to wear these. And you could, from my point of view, he was one of the fittest runners, the best on the course. But I couldn't, in my head, see how you'd gone from a guy who was obviously quite big, huge, to be able to run and be so fit. So obviously, I asked you the same question. When did you first go for a run?
Yeah, well, you could turn around and say my first ever run would have been training to get in the army. And running, you had to run the 1.5 miles back then to get in the army. And, my running 1.5 miles felt like an ultra marathon. I felt huge success of coming back in and running 1.5 miles. I then on in the early part of my career, I didn't enjoy running. I probably did everything to not run and hide away from it. And then really unfit. And as you say, I was probably 19 stone, 38, 40-inch waist at that time. And running was, it was tough going. And then it was only by virtue of, potentially losing my career in the army and getting kicked out. It was just like, well, I need to lose the weight. And the easiest way was cut out the really bad parts of my diet and life and get running. And those first runs were hard, heavy, but it became, if anything, it probably became an addiction. And I probably took it to the extreme and I completely went the other way before finding a happy balance. And then it soon became that go-to space for just silence in the mind and in enjoyment and everything. And the more the weight, clearly, if you're losing nearly half your body weight and everything like that, it does become easier. And with that becoming easier, became the enjoyment through doing it.
I love that. I love it. And I guess it leads me on to my next question for both of you, and we'll go with Sharon first. Is you're not just casual runners, right? Let's cut through the crap here, right? You guys have achieved some amazing stuff. You've entered races. You've done great things in the running space. And I know you've run some massive races, but what I want to know is like, what was the best race / event / thing that you've ever done, and why was it so good?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. We've been really fortunate. We've both been really fortunate that we've managed to, through the army, we've done races kind of across the world, so Singapore, we've done some race. I did a race in Washington. But there's some fantastic races back here in the UK as well. And actually some of the smaller stuff like doing the cross country with the army was just fantastic. Running those races, especially when you're in a team, you're part of that, and that was fantastic. But I think if I was to say one of my favorites, it would be probably the Brecon Midnight Mountain Marathon race. It's just absolutely stunning. Like Brecon is absolutely beautiful, and running up Penny Van and all that kind of scenery, and tackling the terrain. And because you start the race around about 5 o'clock in the evening, don't you? And you're racing the sun going down to get back to the starting point. That's really exciting. It's such a beautiful race, and really challenging. So for me, I think that's one of my favorite ones. Don't know about you.
I love that. What about you, Ian?
It's such a hard question to answer. There's been so many tough ones and so many really enjoyable ones, but I would say probably the biggest one was I've been really fortunate to do the UTMB races, and I've done CCC and OCC. The year I did.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop you a second. I don't know what those letters mean.
Yeah, so Ultra Trail Mont Blanc. Yeah, and then
Right.
I've done CCC. No, I won't try and pronounce it. It's Courmayeur, Champay, and then into Chamonix. And the year that I did that, the night section, because it's 100K, is I went through Switzerland, and I really didn't see Switzerland. I wanted to go back and see that, so I managed to do OCC. And I can't pronounce those, but it's essentially the Switzerland version of that part. And it was everything that I was hoping it to be, because running out there, you see Mont Blanc, you're running through Switzerland, and it's so well done. And as always, I probably went out a little bit too hot, just enjoying the event and just enjoying the moment in it. and it was really hot climate. But when I was coming back in, I'd actually probably cooked myself a bit too much and was suffering dehydration. I actually came into the aid station, and I passed out in the aid station just through dehydration. And when I was coming to, there was a fantastic lady that was just giving me glasses of Coke, and she was putting pure salt in it to get my salt levels back up. And if anything, at that time, it was just like, it just brought me round. And actually, when they were bringing me round, the ambulance was on the way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The ambulance was on the way, and they were just about to cut my number off. If you cut your number off, that's your race done. And it was just like, whoa, stop, don't cut the number off. You can't finish, you passed that. I'll be fine. So I had a couple of glasses more of Coke, just with this pure salt in. This lady did an amazing job. And I got back going again. And it was just like, then to enjoy that final run back into Chamonix was absolutely outstanding. But, you know, Sharon and Arthur were there, got to run across the finish line and everything with Arthur. Even though it was a challenging one, it just showed me that even going through those tough times, physically and mentally, you know, that just stick with it. And it probably gave me that biggest race highlight, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and it's funny because this year in July time, it's July. I'm running an ultra this year, right? And I'm running, it's the first time I've ever done ultra, and I'm running with my younger brother. But it's not just an ultra, it's the Black Diamond, it's called, or the Irwydfa 24. And it's in Snowdon. And you basically run laps of Snowdon to the top and back and to the top and back. And you go as a relay. So I know I'm going to be in the hurt locker. And hopefully at some point, there will be a lady or somebody giving me Coke with salt in. Hopefully I won't go that extreme. But it's mad you say it, because one of the things I'm really excited about running at that time is running on that terrain at night and at like the break of dawn. That's like the thing for me, because Snowdon's, we're from North Wales, me and my brother, and we've been up Snowdon countless times.
Yeah.
Every route you can think, we've been up there walking, hiking, took family, took the kids up, it's great. But to do it at, you know, when no one else is on it, that's going to be one of the highs for me.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
I think
when the sun comes up.
The sun, you know, the sunset, I just pray that you get an amazing sunset, and then, you know, the dawn will be amazing.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that that's my stag when I get up there. And if not, I'm going to have to go back to back and I go with him, because I'm not having him have it over me.
Yeah, definitely.
But so we can't all talk about the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't be fair. It's a bit vanilla. So what's been your worst race experience or running experience?
Yeah. Oh,
to do with running?
Yeah. Oh, go on, do you want to go first?
Yeah, and Sharon know this story, and I don't know if we've had this story, Matt, so apologies if I'm repeating it to you, but for the others. So, you know, whilst we were living in Germany, managed to do a couple of, you know, I was really wanting to do a sort of European marathon. So I actually entered the Munster Marathon. And, you know, for me, relative, you know, and that's what I always say, it's always relative, you know, to who's taking part. I thought I was running really well. Training was going really well. I had an army vest on, and I was lined up on the start line, and you sort of had all the elite runners, which were pretty much all Kenyan. And then there was a small gap. And then there was, they call them the non-elite just behind. And I was in that wave as such. So we lined up, and when the race organisers went to start, there was this big gap, and they were like, well, we can't, you're not going to leave that gap, just push forward. So I'm literally just behind the Kenyans. So obviously sort of kind of had a plan what I was going to do and everything. Now I tend to go out a bit hot, but you know, the race started, and I think you got to a couple of places, but the first place was like at the 5K.
Yeah.
And there's images, and we've probably still got the images, you know, kicking around. Is literally the Kenyans went through at 5K, and
you were like coming in behind.
I was
like,
pretty much still behind them at 5K. So I knew 5K, you know, when you're setting your 5K PB in a marathon, it's not going to particularly go too well. Now,
just 35K to go.
Yeah, I'm a kind of believer that you got to roll the dice sometimes, but that is, you know, you're going all in there. And then you got to 10K.
Yeah.
And even at 10K, I was probably still within 20-30 meters of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And, you know, so 20-30 meters behind the Kenyans at 10K, I stuck with it and sort of still went all in, which was a big shout to do and everything. And, you know, from probably about mile 16, the wheels started to fall off and everything. Come 18 miles, the wheels have well and truly come across. Now, I literally have got no recognition, I'll say that word. I can't remember anything past 20 miles. And the last 6 miles, when they turn around and say in a marathon, the last 6 miles is the hardest part. That last 6 miles was just the worst experience of my life, and I can't even recall it. I can't even remember. I did cross the finish line, but I can't actually remember doing it. So, yeah, don't. I'm a firm believer you got to roll the dice, but don't go all in on your 5K PB in a marathon.
Love it. Absolutely love it. What about you, Sharon?
This is so. I was literally, I've just been racking my brain to think of like when I've had a really bad run, and I really can't think of anything. And I suppose it's really, really difficult. I think there's been tough times in races. You know, there's been you know, doing so I did the South Downs 50 ultra when we kind of went through a bit of an ultra phase. And I remember like probably getting to about 35 miles in, thinking, oh my God, you know, I really don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. This is just like you're like really battling with yourself, you know, to like just do I
Yeah.
just sack it at this next checkpoint or do I keep going? And then, but then further down the line, I think I got to like 42 or 43 miles, whatever, and you suddenly get this like wave of like just exhilaration and like just this emotion, and you just want to like laugh and cry and do everything all at the same time, and it's just such a rush. So you kind of like have them ups and downs, but it's like just keep persisting, keep going with it, and you somehow you just manage to put, you know, just keep that strong sense, that mindset, that strong mindset, and you just seem to pull yourself through and see, you know, get out the other side. And once you finish, obviously, you're just like it's just the best thing ever once you've completed it.
It really is. It
Yeah,
really is. I remember I ran the London Marathon last year and I trained quite hard for it. But if you've run the London Marathon, there's bits of it which are just very different to the rest. So when you go through Canary Wharf and places like that, it's just a very different run to the rest of it because of
yeah,
the amount of crowd, because you don't really recognize the landmarks. And I remember I was coming out of Canary Wharf and I was thinking, oh, I'm really tired already. I feel quite tired. And I remember seeing my wife, Helen, and she was just like at a point, like, ah. And I remember like getting like so emotional.
yeah,
And I thought it didn't make any sense. I'm not an emotional person as such. But it's
yeah.
like, oh God, yeah. And that gave me this energy to like go on and finish the London Marathon. It was really good fun. The worst run I've ever done, which is mad, and it's mad, right? Totally mad, was about 3 weeks ago. And I didn't have the kids for the weekend, which was amazing. We had a weekend off, and I thought, I'm going to go for a lovely run Saturday morning. Now, I didn't feel 100%, but I thought it'd be all right.
Yeah,
And I got out the door and I had on my gear and I set off, and I must have got a single mile. And I just had nothing. And I had to stop, turn around, and I walked home. And I was just thinking, honestly, I can't tell you. Now, I've run just some race. I've never done ultras, never done anything like that. But I felt so disappointed.
yeah.
I hadn't like done my run. I was like, Strava, delete. Do you know what I mean? No one can know about this. No one's
Yeah.
going to ruin all my stats. But it was mad, and it was almost like you get into that habit of running, don't you? You really enjoy going for runs, and you set your routine up, and you go for your runs. And because I couldn't do it on that day,
Yeah,
it like ruined my whole weekend. And it just so happened I wasn't very well, which I
yeah,
now know, and I was written off for about a week.
yeah.
But it was that first day when you're not quite unwell. You don't know whether it's just a bit nerves. It was awful, and I can't. It's weird how much it affected me.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
so we've now looked at your best race ever, your worst experience running. So I'm going to ask you two questions. What's your next race? And then what's the race on the bucket list, which is if I could ever just get to do that holy grail of a race? So what's next first?
So we've literally just booked on some new ones, didn't we? Because we've gone all race crazy now. After doing the fleet, we're like, oh, what else can we do? Right, let's have a little look. So We booked ourselves on, what's the 10? Oh, it's a charity 10K.
Yeah, it's a charity 10K in Aldershot called Little Troopers. So it's, going towards a fantastic cause, which is, for military families and everything. So we're going to go and do that in Aldershot, and that's in a month's time.
Yeah, in a month's time. So we want to try and give that some welly, I think.
Is it around the track?
No, it's sort of just round the canal and everything in
It
Aldershot.
starts at the stadium, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does,
yeah. I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. That should be really good.
Yeah.
And then what's your
Bucket list one?
bucket list? Oh my God. I really want to do, I don't know which one I want to do, but I really would like to do a 24-hour race at some point. I don't know, before I get too old. It's something that I've always wanted to do. Yeah, so it's just finding the right time, to, with family and work and everything. Because if you're going to go and do it, you want to try and give it a good go.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one, but that's what I'm going to hopefully eventually do.
Love
I'll try and
that.
rope you in, Matt, as well. We'll all do it together.
My younger brother, just out of interest, he's just sent me a WhatsApp message. So my brother, who I'm running the ultra with in July, he's not a runner. I pull him into running, and he's turning 40 this year. So he's like, I want to do something. So we did that. But he's just entered an ultra, 24-hour ultra, which is in May. It's called the Offers Dyke 24.
Yeah.
Now, Offers Dyke, there's a path called Offers Dyke which runs through North Wales, from Prestatyn in North Wales coast all the way down to South Wales. And basically, the Offers Dyke 24 is you start in Prestatyn, and you run south for 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it's the furthest person, whoever gets the furthest. And I think last year, or the person ran 88 mile or something. He won. But regardless of where you finish, you get the medal, you get a certificate of your things, because it's chipped, it's all the rest of it. So I thought that was quite a cool one.
That sounds really good. I've heard of a race like that before. Only the ones where it's kind of like from there to there. You might get lost a little bit in the middle, so you might end up doing a few extra miles on top of it, but that's fine.
But
you did a good Centurion one, didn't you, where you started in Goring and then you kind of went out.
Yeah, that was the 100.
Yeah, there was a 100-miler, and you kind of went out 4 legs, wasn't it?
Yeah, Autumn 100.
Yeah, so that sounds like
amazing.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, and that's another story as well. Yeah.
So what about you? What's your?
I'm going to go off tangent and then I'll come back on. Apologies, not the waffle on. But first of all, and I'm not thinking of anything like this. I just want to, watching Jasmine Paris. We've chatted about this. The Barclay.
Amazing, absolutely amazing,
outstanding,
absolute athlete.
For her to achieve that, but for anyone, to go and put yourself out there on something so amazing and so tough and everything, she deserves all the plaudits she could get. It's sort of a weird part of me that would like to do another ultra, nothing like that. But I'm not going to sound morbid when I say this and everything, and you both understand this anyway. Any event that I'm kind of doing now, and it could be a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, I'm just looking forward to, because from where I was in my head to doing these things now, it's just like, do you know what? I'm just enjoying everything. There is that part of me that turns around and says, yeah, do you know what? I'd like to go and do. I've been lucky to race in Singapore, Europe and everything like that. I've never done anything in America, so to go to America and do some sort of an event and everything like that would be fantastic. But I'll be honest, it could be anything, anything.
Yeah, that's probably the best answer I've ever heard.
Yeah,
I love it. Absolutely love it. You're absolutely right. Every race. So it's really interesting. So the Barclay race, first of all, I've never heard of until Ian sent me a couple of YouTube videos. Now I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
What I'm obsessed with it is how raw it is for runners.
Yeah.
There's no frills. It's like it's all around a yellow gate with an old dude in a check shirt, and you get a race number for each leg, and you got to get a page out the book, and it's hideous. It's like if anyone's listening, has never heard of the Barclay Marathon or the Barclay, just Google it, look on YouTube. There are some incredible little documentaries about people doing it. And as Ian just said there, Jasmine Barras is she's the first female to ever finish it.
Yeah.
And I think only 20 people have ever finished it anyway, but she's only first female, which is a massive achievement.
Yeah.
For me, there is a couple of, I'm really looking forward to the ultra for 2 reasons. It's doing an ultra, which is the first one, tick. And secondly, I'm really looking forward to running with my brother, because he's not a runner. Now, we've done a couple of races before together before, and he's just not a runner. He does weightlifting, powerlifting, he's done jiu-jitsu, but he's just not a runner. He's ex-Royal Engineers, but we're really close, Paul and I. So the fact that I've roped him into it, I'm really looking forward to it. The race before that I'm really looking forward to, is the Bristol Half.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm looking forward to the Bristol Half is because, all things going well, I'll be on the start line with Ian. Now, that's going to be ace, because although we've connected over the last year, 18 months, we haven't physically been in the same space.
Yeah.
Lots of live stuff, lots of moving, lots of stuff. So to be able to stand on that start line and beat you over the first K, no, I mean run it with you, that's gonna be pretty special. The ultimate bucket list one for me is the Dragon's Back race, which interestingly, the lady just run the park. She's won that.
Yeah, she did.
And that's the Dragon's Back race. Is starting in Conway and running straight down the centre of Wales over all the map. It looks epic, absolutely epic. So that's my bucket list.
Yeah.
And who knows?
And just labouring on your point a bit, and this goes back to same thing again, not trying to be too morbid, but appreciating those things. If that race that you're going to do with your brother, shall we say, take that out, sorry, that event that you're going to do with your brother will mean a lot because of those memories and everything as well.
Yeah, it's cool. Now, so the next question, and then and I appreciate we've probably got about 10 minutes left, right? So the next question is, what's the one bit of kit that you have to have? Or are you just pretty raw? Doesn't matter what trainers, what shorts, you don't care? Or is there something you think, if you go away and you haven't packed it, that's going to affect how you run?
Yeah.
There's 2 bits for me.
Well, you do your bits.
Yeah. Is anything that's going to cover your nipples, some sort of tape. Yeah. I joke, essential. Anything above a half marathon and everything like that. If I don't know about any other blokes or anything, or even for females or anything, if those nipples, some of the chafage I have had in marathons and everything like that, even to the stage of bleeding and everything, and that is a complete and utter game changer. It just affects the mind, psyche and everything. And even if you haven't got, and it taps into the second pit, it's just a bit of Vaseline for any place that's going to rub. Yeah, get that bit of Vaseline on early and everything like that, because the later on in an event it's going and it's rubbing, in between your legs, underneath your armpits, toes, anywhere, your nipples, you can feel it, and that just gets in your head and it just niggles the whole time. So like this weekend and everything, it was literally on the morning of, I was like, tape.
Yeah.
What about you, Sharon?
So for me, being a lady, I don't know if any other ladies do this, but I wear 2 sports bras. So I wear a shock absorber bra, and then I wear a crop top bra over the top, and that just keeps everything secure. But I've always done it, and if I forget one, it's just a nightmare, absolute nightmare. I feel so uncomfortable. I can't really go for it the same. I just feel like something's just not quite right. And also Innovate socks. For me, I've got Innovate socks, and they are the best socks ever. And I won't wear any others now. They are the best socks. They don't rub, you don't end up with any blisters. Perfect. So they're my go-to. But when it comes to actual running kit, I'm easy, shorts and a vest. Nothing.
It's mad though. I find it mad. So I'm I have to have music is the first thing, which I know loads of proper runners. People they're like, music, absolutely not. I'm like, I need it, right? I need my average playlist to get me through some miles, and I enjoy it, right? So
Yeah.
if I don't take my headphones, or worse, I've got like the shock ones which are like conducting, so I can wear them to race.
Yeah.
If I don't charge them, there's nothing worse than being halfway. I'm like running. I'm going to run 8 mile today. I'm being 4 mile out and it going. Doo-doo-doo. I'm like, huh?
Gutted.
It takes me off my breathing, everything, right? And it's like so that's that. Then it's like I wear like calf compression thing. They're only cheap on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And I only started wearing them when I pulled my calf playing football. And I had a little twinge and I was just worried, so I bought them. Really cheap on Amazon, stuck them on. Oh, I felt really good. And now, like, I went away with work and I didn't pack them. I thought I'd packed them, but when I opened it, they were socks.
Oh.
And I couldn't run. I genuinely, like, in my head, I thought, I don't want to. It was weird. It's like a psychological thing, but it was really, I couldn't go out without it. And I'm sure when anyone from the RunFever community listens to this, everyone will sort of go, mine's this thing. Mine's I need to have this or I need to have that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's,
it's amazing
I think it's
how it can impact you though psychologically. It can really knock you, especially if you've got it in your head. Like I've done it before with music as well, where I've thought, right, I can't wait to get out there, and you've got your playlist, and then you go and switch it on, you've got no battery at all, and you're just like, and it just throws you off that tempo run you were going to do. You like bin it and just do like a little jog or something because you just haven't got the same motivation.
And it's mad, isn't it? Because your body's the same.
Yeah.
Your nutrition has been the same, and you're like, I should be, everything should be the same, but I'm just missing that one bit of kit that makes me feel better. And I know Ian and I have had big discussions about this, and there's been posts on LinkedIn and we've had big discussion about it, about like, what are the marginal gains between having a carbon fiber shoe? What's the marginal gains at an average level? And I class myself as an average runner, right? What's the marginal gains of me having those fancy pants shoes? And 99% of people,
I think there's a whole nother podcast that we could talk about this longer.
100%.
And all I would say on this is the biggest thing for me, does it make you feel good? I don't buy. There is some. It's proven they do help and everything like that. But I don't save the carbon plated race shoes just for racing or running that event. I use them because why? They make me feel good, and anything that makes me feel good whilst running has got to be a marginal gain because it's going to make that run enjoyable.
It definitely, and it does. It's changed my approach to running.
Yeah.
Like when I was serving in the army, I would have to have the cool kit, and if it was issued to you, then it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Is the way I saw it. So if it was issued and everyone had it, I would have to go and try and find an alternative that would be a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it would make me feel better. And when you look, the term in the military is, it's alley. That's alley. You know what I mean? Whereas I would like to think, well, what does that mean? What does that mean outside of a military environment? And it's like having the fancy pants running shoes. And again, there's a lot of humility that comes from running. Certainly when you take up running and you think running. And I've turned up to races before and looked at people and gone, him, he's got the fancy Nike Vapor flies. Do you know what I mean? He's got, but he doesn't. He's not a runner. He's not breaking a record here. But it's those marginal gains of if you're like, if that makes him feel 1 single % better, if that makes him feel 1% better.
Yeah.
Then do what you want.
Then do it.
And
Do it.
Do
it.
Yeah. And that could be an easy thing, even if you were to just turn around saying, do you know what, I'm going to go out for an easy run today. I'm going to go out for an easy run, but I want to feel good. I want to feel comfy.
Yeah.
Use them.
Yeah. Well, you fancy pants.
Don't save them. Who knows what's around the corner the next day and everything. Make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Yeah. Now, we've only got 3 minutes left, right? So I don't know what the best thing to do here is, because my next final 2 questions were about the changes and adaptions you've had to make in your running.
Yeah.
Since losing your sight in one eye. I wanted to know, and that's the question is for both of you, and I know we probably haven't got time to answer it, but you as a runner, now being visually impaired, and you, Sharon, have took on this mantle of being a guide, and that means you can't just concentrate on your own stride, your own breathing. You've had to be the eyes for both runners. And I wanted to know, I guess maybe we've got time, got a couple of minutes, but what adaptions have you had to make, and how has that been?
It's the only way I can quickly describe it within the next couple of minutes is like through my left eye, it's like, clearly I haven't got a lot of sight left in it. So it's like looking through a frosted glassed, cloudy shower curtain and I can't see left. And I keep on forgetting that I can't see left. And, that affects just the everyday, because even just looking around when you're trying to get that balance of distance and everything like that, like I said, there's been a couple of little incidences with vehicles and everything, and I don't think it's been the driver's fault. It's most likely been mine. So it's been tough. And there's those days where I call my runs guided runs on Strava because luckily Sharon's been there when I've been struggling.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just like I'm looking for two. I'm looking for two people. I'm considering both of us when we're like crossing roads or we're venturing down country lanes or whatever. It's just, and we shout. We kind of do the military thing where we like shout out like car front, car behind, or that kind of thing. So it's just like running as a team, really, isn't it? That's how it seems. But
it's something that we, definitely, because we're into the last minute now. So, it's definitely something that we can probably explore and chat more.
It's been great chatting though, Matt.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, right? And I honestly could chat to you two like forever. But I just want to say thank you for answering the questions. And I know they may be silly questions, but it gives me and some of the listeners a real understanding of the, when you fell in love with running and what comes from it. So thank you so much. And let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care.
All the best. Good luck on Sunday.
Best of luck, Matt.
I'll let you know how I get on.
You'll smash it.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for listening.